but it was stressful. So, when he wanted to do something, he always had an opposition from colleagues and boss because he was full of life and new ideas. So he used to have lot of stress. But when there is stress and anger, it never flows outward. Okay, it always flows inward. You can't get angry with your colleagues, you can't get angry with your boss, because it's quite natural that the anger always flows downward. So with anger, frustrated with anger, he decided that he should have a total 100% mind control. So he said, I will not get angry. But when he comes home, his spouse is also had a stressful day at work. So she also comes home with lot of, she's tired and angry. So when both of them decide, no, it is life, we have to live, we should not express our anger, and that leads to controlling our emotions. But that mind control, okay, how long you can control your mind? So they see their child not doing their homework, they feel frustrated, they feel angry, and through their body movement the child understands that he is not doing something proper. So this is what is happening. The stress is transferred to the other person, family members, or when we have stress at home, it is transferred to someone else in office or in other work. So here, according to me, a new age bad habits are stress, anxiety, fear, worries, and other emotions which we are not allowing ourselves. So, through the method of spirituality, it's absolutely easily possible to accept those the spirituality or those emotions or get over it. Spirituality develops the perseverance in you so that you can easily get out of those emotions. How to do it? So there are certain measures which you have to follow. The first one and the very important is the self compassion. Unless and until you are compassionate towards yourself and others, it is not going to be possible. So that is very very important, and I think there is tremendous change in everyone is helping each other. There is a change, and that compassion usually is reflected in your life. So what does that mean? That means whenever there is someone, when you don't have a good relation, then you need to find out what is the reason why the other person is behaving in this fashion. We need to understand our problems, we need to be compassionate towards those things, and then only we will be compassionate towards other people. So we need to develop that mutual compassion for each other. That is very very important, my friend. Then the other thing, the next one is self forgiving. Unless and until stop living in past, we don't self forgiving. We have to forgive ourselves, whatever the mistakes, whatever the failures, whatever things we are not able to grasp or not able to conquer, we have to forgive ourselves. Unless and until we forgive ourselves, okay, for procrastination, for laziness, for not doing it perfectly, it's absolutely fine to be not perfect all the time, friends. Why it is absolutely fine to not to be perfect? Because it's important that, it's non-dual world. That means if there is beauty, there is going to be ugliness. So whenever there is to be presentation or etc, we dress up nicely, we present ourselves. So we have to accept the way we are. The moment we accept ourselves as we are, we can pull ourselves out of that mental agony, and it's absolutely possible. Then the next point is stopping living in the past. The moment we start living in the past, traumas and memories, it creates burden. So whenever you have arguments with your boss or with your colleague, we need not carry that trauma on the next day. Why we need not carry, just a minute. uh, sorry, sorry. We need not carry that trauma on the next day. Okay, next day should be started with a new slate. That's what spirituality teaches you. No one is enemy forever. Take, mark my word. Okay, enemies can be turned into friends. It is absolutely possible, and the more enemies turn into your friends, it absolutely possible to have a peaceful life. How to do it? You have to be spiritual, develop that resilience. So when someone behaves differently or not as per your expectation, we should not carry that particular stress on the next day. Next day, when you go to the office, you should have forgotten whatever the behavior we had with anyone. Same way we have to do with our family members also. You should not remember and nag the wife. Oh, you dropped this, carton on the platform while I had to clean everything, or whatever it is. Every day should be new thing for you. Then only the life will be much easier to live. What happens with us, friend? We are conditioned in such a way that we try to carry all the traumas and all the things, because intellect, we have got intellect, we have got power of memory, we need to remember everything. But when we remember all those things, it becomes much more difficult to live life. Instead of that, if we try to go spiritually and grow spiritually, that is getting over, spirituality teaches you to get over your mind, getting over your mind, or because mind is fictitious body, that's what they say, and it helps you to get over all the trauma. And one of the experience I feel that, they say that you have to go for healing of the childhood and all those things. What happens, friend, that the more you try to recreate those pains, okay, there is no end to those pains, because it is you start digging, there will be so many incidences where things might have not gone your way. So those incidences might not help you to grow in your life. We need to be aware about that. We need to be aware that all these past ones are not going to help you. So when you go spiritually, the inward inside you, there is so much of peace that you feel joyful. You no longer have to push those memories. Those memories will come because human intellect, because human intellect is there. So we are going to remember all those unpleasant memories. But if you are growing spiritually, then slowly the remembering those unpleasant memories, the intervention is reduced. Intervals are even broader. That means it becomes much more easier for us to forget the unpleasant past. It's absolutely possible to get out of that past through spirituality. And for that, you have to follow, as I told you, you have to follow the breathing, you have to follow the meditation, and you have to follow certain practices where we have to be really authentic towards ourselves. Then only will be very, it will be interesting expression of our original emotions. We have to be aware and gauge how we are feeling. Unless and until we understand how we are feeling, okay, it's going to be very difficult. As I told you, Mitesh, first incidents, when Mitesh came home, he was full of anger, but he did not knew how to express those anger. So if he tries to deny that he is feeling angry, it is going to show some way or other. That means mind, body, and soul are interconnected, and soul is not happy to be in disharmony. So naturally it will start showing through your mind by creating lot of stress, anxiety, and it will start reflecting in your mental or physical health. And that's why we have to aware, express is important. As important is being aware. All the time you have to be aware about your emotions, how you are feeling. You have to be expressing it. But what is very important is not reacting. Okay, we have to stop reacting. With the moment we stop reacting, the life becomes easier. Because I'll just tell you, Mitesh gets angry, Mitesh's wife is also angry, and if suppose they shout at child is going to feel sad. Why to make problems for others by reaction? So keep your emotions to yourself. Only thing, be aware about your emotions. Many times, due to conditioning, we are not aware about emotions. So, what happens because of spirituality? It helps you to understand your emotions. It helps you to be aware about your emotions, because our mind is very tricky and very deep. It becomes so when the healing starts, healing always starts like, it's a concentric circle. So it starts earlier, then it starts coming back to your core, to your soul. So the moment you start reaching to your soul, it becomes much easier. How to reach to your soul? When you start getting out of your negative problems or negative egos or emotion or the image which we try to portray or which we try to create. So when we break the ego, it becomes much more easier for us to accept the life as it is, because it is, life is so important for us to live. It is very important to take timely action. Then stop people pleasing against your will. Many times we try to please people against our will. So you have to be aware about your emotions, and we have to stop people pleasing. We have to express our true emotions. Okay. But as I told you, as you advance spiritually, you will have, and you will recognize the divinity in other human being, because Advaita philosophy tells that all of us are the part of the same goal or the same divine consciousness. When we are aware about those divine consciousness, life becomes much more easier, and we start respecting us as well as other, because there is a God's matter resides in us. See how to recognize that there is a soul, there is an energy. Have you seen a coal? As it is, it does not have, but when it is ignited, it looks red. You can feel, you can't touch it, but you know. And the moment we start blowing that coal, if you have seen, when we, the moment we start blowing that coal, it develops that energy in it and it starts burning. So that's what happened, friends. Spirituality through yogic breathing and other thing, all those spiritual methods, dhyana, etc., you start blowing that coal, and then your energy level rises. So when you start going against what your soul's intentions are, it becomes much easier to adopt and quieten your mind. It is very important. See, you must have seen there are three types of acceptance or things. First is Shruta Pradnya, the second one is Chintan Pradnya, and the third one is Bhavana Pradnya. Shruta Pradnya means what? Shruta Pradnya means we listen all the motivational talks. You are listening to me what I'm talking. But you need to be aware, and you should have to start thinking about it. Then only it will be known as Chintan Pradnya. So after Chintan Pradnya, how to reach to Bhavana Pradnya? That means that experience. See, I'm telling you, you are not going to experience it. So somebody else telling us, stop more procrastination this way, then we start adopting that procrastination method. But just adopting it does not help. It should become your experience. Unless and until it is accepted by you wholeheartedly, it is not going to happen. And for that, you have to help your soul to accept it by listening and surrendering to the soul. The moment you will start surrendering to your soul's voice, you will try breaking your ego. That is the easiest method. So you have to break your ego to get out of your soul's thing. So you have to stop people pleasing against your will. You have to be good to everyone, but you have to stop people pleasing. Then you have to recognize your self worth. That is very, very important. Many times we are not aware about our self worth. It is because of our atmosphere, because of our the conditioning we had, whatever, or our genes, or they said ancestral memories are also there. So many times we try to carry all that baggage with us. So this spirituality helps you to understand that you are unique. You are unique soul, and you are the part of that divine consciousness. The moment you start going inward through meditation, through kriya yoga, through accepting your authenticity, through breaking away the false or fake image that we have, accepting our whole hearted truth, life becomes much more easier. Don't you want to have that type of life? By recognizing your self worth, it's very important for us to recognize our self worth, and that only you have to do. How to do it? Get out of the negative talks. Many times we are conditioned and we try to follow that condition like we are in a hamster wheel. Whenever we feel that we are not able to do certain things, we keep on doing running into that circle, and we don't analyze that. So you have to think how important and precious you are. Why you are important? Because you are the part of that divine will. So you have to surrender to your divine will. It is very, very important for getting out of stress. I want to really focus today on this surrendering to divine will. That means whatever is happening in our life is happening because of what God wanted it. God wanted it that way. So when God wants the things at that way, we have to be aware. And the moment we accept, friends, the divine will, life changes. Life changes totally. We start accepting our life as it is. We start accepting the people around us. It can be your boss, it can be your colleague, it can be your children, it can be your wife. You don't try to change anyone. You try to change yourself. You try to develop that perseverance. You try to perseverance to accept the other person as they are, and then it helps you to develop that relation, that emotional bonding. And when you show that kindness to other person, the change is quite organic. There is total difference in the attitude. You must have seen all the spiritual gurus. Those gurus, you must have heard about the stories like Buddha, etc. They are calm and quiet because they are established their core. And when you establish that core, it will be easier for you to accept divine will. And then divine will means as God has created people and whatever in your life, you will accept it totally. And the moment, friends, you will accept it, is, according to my experience, it is mutual. So you will start accepting life as it is, and it will give you mental peace, and it will help you to be more spiritual. So when you close your eyes for meditation, it will help you to focus on your life. So life is happening for you and not to you. So we don't have to act upon whatever the life is happening. It is happening for us. Each and every incidence in your life is happening for you, friend. Whatever, then you have to understand what is me, my power, my strength. Others are just around us. It can be your children, it can be your spouse, it can be anything. We have to change, we have to develop that resilience to stand for ourselves. Okay, we don't have to underestimate ourselves, our needs. That is very, very important. The moment you will start underestimating your needs and start changing for others, you will have mental disturbance. You will lose your mental peace. So first you have to understand, aware about your needs, and then you have to honor other needs also. But first the focus should be on you, to be aware and be self compassionate, self forgiving, accepting the divine will, and then life is happening for you. So what I have to learn from this particular thing that is happening in my life, I need to learn. So what I have to learn, that is very, very important. So when you follow those things, 10 things, shruti pradya, so you are not just listening things, you listen to motivational talk, then you start thinking, chintan pragya, you start thinking about it. And the third, it becomes the part of your life, friend. You no longer have to depend on someone else to motivate you continuously, especially your children. When they listen to you, okay, you have to study, you have to, it is good for your career, etc. They listen to you and they forget. Why? Because they don't think about it. So when they will start thinking about it, and when they start thinking about it and develop it and make it as their experience, their own experience, that is bhavana, pragya, part of their life, the motivation comes out of you like a spring of a water. The well does not have to get water from anyone. See, sea has to get water from river. River has to get water from rain. But whale has water of its own, that is its own source. So same way, through spirituality, you will create your self motivation. That's why I'm telling your children also should meditate, do all that yoga, small easy asanas you can do, even the breathing exercise you can teach your children. Everything should be started early, catch them young, when they are young. And so when you start following all the spiritual way of life, it will be easier for your children also to follow the spiritual way of life. And that's the right way of living life. And friends, I'll tell you from my own experience, spirituality makes you more religious, but you will no longer follow on all the ritualistic things, but you will aware about religion. When you heard about Ram, or when you learn about Allah, or whatever the religion, or Christ, you will understand in a different way. So it does not interfere in your religion. It's a way of living conscious life. Whatever these ancient yogis have told us is so important. We need to be aware about this ancient treasure which we have. India has all these years, and let's cash it on it by relearning life through spirituality and through Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga combines yogic breathing, all the exercises, and meditation. So it becomes much more easier. They say, Param Yoga, Paramhansa Yogananda had said, Guruji had said, that it is very important. It is an aeroplane route to mental peace and the divine will. So it is very important. It is going to take you to the God in a much easier manner. So that's the right way of living life. See you all, friend. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy, but try spiritual way of living. Have disciplined life. It is very important. Be self-forgiving, but have a disciplined life. It helps a lot, friend, to live life efficiently. And especially your family should also participate and enjoy life, because life is to live in a bliss, in a soul's nature, in your inner core, closing our outer senses. Go inward or surrender to your soul, and the life will be much peaceful. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. Bye.